Hello, welcome to another session. This is perhaps the second session on integers. We had in the first video learnt about the addition and the absolute value of the integers. Herein we'll see the subtraction of integers. So let me light the topic which I'm taking up. We are doing subtraction of integers. Before taking up question, we need to know how we go for subtraction. There are two things. Either you have one negative number, that is a minus b. This assume that a and b are any two integers. In that case, you subtract whatever, supposedly when you are given a smaller number as suppose 3 and a being 5. So this is a simple subtraction and you write 5 minus 3, that's 2. Now if this is the other way around, 3 minus 5, what we do is we subtract them, like 5 and 3 gives you 2, that's a subtraction. But the greater number here had carried plus, so your answer had an implied plus. Here the greater number is carrying a minus, which is 5 is carrying a minus, so the answer will be minus 2. Right? This first question can also be written like plus 5 minus of plus 3. This is equivalent to writing 5 minus 3 and that's giving us 2. If otherwise the question is given, so there can be different types. This is the first one, a different type wherein you have both of these to be in positive. Secondly, you can have a 6, or it is actually a plus 6, subtract minus 4 from a 6. In this case we need to remove the bracket. We are actually changing minus of minus 4 makes it a plus 4. That gives us simple 6 plus 4, that is 10. This is another type of subtraction. Third is when you have both of them negative, subtract a minus 8 from minus 11. Let this be as it is. Minus and a minus makes it a plus. Again, this is equivalent to what we did here. So now 11 minus 8 is 3. 11 being the greater number, it carries a negative symbol, so I'll say minus 3. This is another, and the simplest another one can be minus 3 minus of plus, oh, this I think we did in the first one. No, minus, sorry, I'll just erase this part. This was not kind of clearly written. So minus 3 minus of plus 7. Again, when you have something with bracket, we need to remove the brackets. A minus with a plus, a negative with a positive, this we have discussed in the first video also, is minus 7. Now you have 2 minus. When you actually have 2 minus, the function becomes plus, that is 3 and 7, that is 10. 2 minus s makes the function to be plus, and the greater number carries a minus, so this will be minus. Now we'll take up a few questions for this to understand it better. It says subtract 6 from 18. So it is 18 minus 6. It says 6 from 18. So it's simply 6 from 18, that gives you 12. It's a simple subtraction. Again, I write this one. It says I'll just be writing sub, that makes it subtract 6 from minus 3. So how do we write? We are subtracting 6 from minus 3. This is a case of two minuses. When you have two minuses, the functions become a plus, that is 9. And the greater number carries 6. So it is, greater number carries, that is 6, carries a minus. So your answer will also have a minus. There are two things. I'll just, before moving on to more questions, I just have to tell you that when you are getting any subtraction, integer subtractions, what you do, think to yourself in two parts. One is, what's going to be the function, what I'm actually doing, I'm actually adding or I'm actually subtracting. Because when you have two negative symbols, the function actually becomes plus. This I have already shared this in the first video, but still I'm repeating this again. When you have two positive, there is no question of a negative, so the function automatically becomes a positive. Again, you have either one negative or another positive, the function will also be negative. After doing this function, you see which symbol the greater number carries. Whatever the greater number carries, your answer will also carry the same symbol. Again, come back to more questions here. I write, it says subtract minus 27 from minus 54. So we'll be writing subtract minus 27 from minus 54. First you need to remove the brackets. Again, you have two negatives. Two negatives makes it positive. So I'll write minus 54 plus 27. Now you have one negative, one positive. That makes the function negative. Refer to the third point. So 54 minus 27 is the 27. Now the greater number is 54. That carries a negative symbol. So here we'll put a negative symbol. So minus 27 becomes your answer. Next question given is subtract 12 from minus 7. We write it first. Subtract 12 from minus 7. Now you again have two negatives, so the function will be positive. So 7 plus 12 is 19. What the greater number carries? The greater number is 12. It carries a negative, so the answer becomes minus negative. We take up more than two integers now. The question reads as find the value of. What do we find the value of? It's minus 37 minus of minus 15 and minus 2. We'll take this question and another one I write here, that is 16 minus, there is a bracket which writes 14, minus of minus 2 minus of minus 6. Check the first one. The first step has to be just removing the bracket. Now doing so, it is minus 37. When you have two negatives, that makes it positive. Minus 37 plus 15 and minus 2. So it is, now take two at a time. We cannot take three at a time, let's take first this two. It's minus 37 plus 15. A negative and a positive, so the function becomes a negative. Now 37 plus minus 15 gives you 12. As because 37 was the greater number and it carried a negative, I'll carry a negative here. Minus 12 and minus 2. Again you have two negatives, so the function becomes a positive. 12 plus 2 gives you 14. The greater number is 12, which carries a minus, so your answer becomes a minus 14. Now go on to the next one. Let's remove the first bracket first. Let this be in the bracket. Minus and minus gives you plus, so it becomes 14 plus 2. If you remove this bracket again, so it is again having two negatives, that makes it a positive. Inside the bracket, it's actually 14 plus 2 plus 6, that is 22. So you simply have 16 minus 22. This is implied to be a positive. So one positive, one negative, your function will be a negative. 22 minus 16 gives you 6. The greater number is 22, which carries a negative. So your answer will also have a negative. Hope you now followed how to go for a subtraction. I'll now move on to take up multiplication and division of integers. And then we can take up more on some properties of integers. Okay? When we are multiplying, let me just write here that we are now learning multiplication of integers. Under multiplications or the product, we need to remember two things. Suppose we are finding the product of two integers with unlike signs. Unlike signs means one is negative, one is positive. What we do is we find the product of the numbers regardless of their signs first. That is, we will be just multiplying the absolute value and give minus symbol to the product. That's your rule number 1. What does your rule number 1 says? First rule I told you is, first find the product of the numbers. Product of the numbers. That's the integers. Product of the absolute value, I can directly write. Absolute value of the integers, and then you put the negative symbol, then put the negative sign. Sorry, I made a mistake there. Okay, that's done. And what does the rule 2 says? The rule 2 says, when you have two, this is when you are finding or multiplying with unlike signs. With unlike signs. When we are multiplying two integers with like signs, that means with same symbols, you simply will be multiplying the numbers and give plus sign to it. Find the product of the numbers and put positive sign, that's the plus sign to it. That's the basic multiplication. We can see a few examples to clarify it. The first one I write here, when you have two different signs, that is unlike signs, the first rule. In that I had said you just multiply the numbers. So 40 into 7 gives you 280, and you simply put a negative. If it is the other way around, that means if you have a negative 3 multiplied to 25, same thing. 25 carries a positive, 3 carries a negative. 25 into 3 gives you 75, and you will only put the negative symbol here. Anything multiplied via negative or a positive to 0 gives you a 0. When you have simply two positive or symbols or two negative, that means minus 5 multiplied to minus 4. Look at the second rule. Find the product of the numbers. So 4 5 is 20 and put a positive symbol. So when you have two negative symbols, the product becomes a positive, right? We now take maybe 3 at a time, like minus 10 multiplied to a minus 10, again multiplied to a minus 10. In that case, let's take 2 at a time. I'm just putting this set. Now you have two negatives Again, look at the rule 1. Multiply the two of them, that gives you 100. Sorry, that gives you 100, and the symbol will be a plus, because it says with unlike sign you will put up. This is a rule number 2. When you have two similar ones, so I have multiplied and give a product plus symbol. Now you are to multiply 100 with a negative. This now belongs to rule 1. So you have two different signs, unlike signs, multiply them. 100 multiplied to 10 gives you 1000, and it will carry a negative symbol. Now look at another one. Here I can make, fit in, where you have like -3 multiplied to -6 multiplied to -19, or sorry, maybe any number. I can take -10, or again that's multiplied to suppose 4, right? Take these two at a time. These are two like signs, that's rule 2. So 3 6 the 18, and the symbol becomes a plus. Multiplied by, take these two again. Again they both are belonging to the rule 2. They have like signs, so that becomes plus 40. Now you have this again falls into the second one. It's plus 18 multiplied to 40. 18 into 4 is 772, so it is 4720. You'll put a positive symbol because they both have like signs, right? We'll stop this session here and we'll move on with more on multiplication, and then move on to learn division in the next video. Thank you.